So you guys, I'm like really excited about this presentation because I study a lot, and like I'm seriously like I'm an extrovert introvert. Like I love speaking and sharing information, and I love being alone and studying a lot. So this is like my whole thing of like all the stuff that's going on in the world. I don't have control over that. That's the macrocosm. This is the microcosm. I have power to change the world right here with you guys. And so this is really important. A lot of the stuff I test it on you, and I take it and I share it with my clients. So I'm really grateful for all you guys being here so I can share this information. So that way, hopefully you can go and apply it to other people. I want to say this one last piece before I get into this, is that every one of you is made up of mostly water, correct? Right? Mm-hmm. Every one of you can be that drop that is a ripple effect in the lives of everybody around you. I say the same thing to every one of my clients on a day-to-day basis because it's not just about you. You have to be the change you want to see in everybody else's life. You have to be a mirror to them. So, with that said, welcome back. With that said, the power of words. Now you guys notice I wrote the word power of words. What's this little S right here? Oh my God, words became swords. Now the truth is, a lot of people don't realize, I've been starting to teach this in the last few months. Remember I told you last year my business has been taking off because I learned the Trivium and I started going deeper into what words is, right? What words are on this side of the Trivium. So I realized I started teaching this to my clients. In the beginning, there was the word, right? Everything starts from that. And words are like swords because a lot of people, they're stabbing themselves in their subconscious mind because they don't know how to control information that's being ingested in their subconscious. I often tell my clients, it's like this is your example right here, I've been sharing with my clients, is you have two ways of looking at the world. There's the stuff you have no control over and the stuff you have control over. You can narrow your focus on the things you have control over and widen your focus on things you don't have control over, or you can widen your focus on the things you have control over and narrow your focus on things you don't have control over, right? A lot of this is how you apply words to your life. Now, the word verb, actually, what does the word verb mean? Action, right? So before there was ever any written stuff, everything was verbal, everything was action, right? We've come to the point in society, we're all sitting here texting each other, but there's no action. We're all on Facebook all the time. That's why it's so important to have these meetings. We actually got to meet and see each other and feel each other, right? Because that's where the real change is going to happen. We have to get into taking action. Do you guys agree with that? So, let's get into some of these words. This is the fun part for me. So, what does the word hypnosis mean? We live in a society that is in a wakeful state of sleep, according to G.I. Gurdjieff, right? A lot of people are walking around. Me and JL make a living teaching people how to eat, exercise, and sleep. Aren't we supposed to know how to do that anyways? It's kind of weird, right, JL? Mm-hmm. So, a lot of people are suffering from hypnosis, which is hypo, meaning below, and gnosis for Greek, which is knowledge, right? They don't even know their own power to change their own lives because they're suffering from hypnosis. Now, to go deeper into how words actually work, right, is we were talking about before how grammar, logic, and rhetoric, right? So grammar is like the building blocks. So when you have letters, every letter is a symbol actually in your mind, right? And whatever symbol that has in your mind, that's the power you're holding with that symbol. So letters create spelling, right? Spelling creates words, right? Or swords. When you project out into the world words, actually you're cutting reality, right? You're changing it with the way you project words. Then you get sentences. And sentences, when someone goes to prison, what do they get? A sentence. So remember I talked about words, you're stabbing yourself. Some people are creating a prison in their own mind. I literally have clients who are very successful and they're creating a prison in certain aspects of their life because they're not conscious of how those words are affecting them.
We're all doing it.
We're all doing it. Yes. Everyone in this room. I am too.
All the time.
I'm breaking out of all these different, like my own shell of certain aspects of my subconscious mind to step into a bigger version of myself. So how can I do that without reflecting that to you guys and sharing that with you? So last but not least, sentences create a paragraph. And that's why I like studying this stuff because I didn't really understand what a paragraph is. My favorite magician is Paracelsus. You ever heard of Paracelsus? His name's Paracelsus because he's para, above Celsius. Now the word paragraph, it's like a parallel universe. There's what's inside your head, inside your brain, and you're parallel projecting that, and it's a graph of reality. I just learned that. I was like, whoa, that's so crazy. I never even thought about it like that. Because it's a parallel reality that you're projecting into the world with your letters, spelling, words, and sentences. Isn't that pretty powerful? Yeah. I never thought about it like that, and that blew my mind. I couldn't wait to come and explain that to you guys today. You zooming in on that?
Yeah, I'm just going to zoom in for people at home.
Comment on that?
Yeah.
Can pause it.
The guy he's talking about, he's actually the first person who thought about stars really being stars, and they burned him.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, no, Paracelsus was a very powerful magician, awesome dude. Highly recommend checking him out. Part of like, when we're in here, take some notes, like any little nuggets of information. I'm saying all we're doing is put tools on the table. You take what you need from those tools. So, another fun thing, word magic, right? Power of words. What's abracadabra mean? I actually looked this up. I was looking up what the power of words, right? So ab, right? So it's your heart or your emotion, your intent. So ab, right? or abs, like abs, right? Projecting my intent, my abs. Ab, ra is light, ego, or self, right? Ka is ether or the fifth element. You're projecting it out into the world. And daba is your person. The word persona means mask in Greek, right? You're projecting that out into your reality. And ra, again, abracadabra, is into the light again. So I'm not trying to get too deep into this, but you actually use these words, and if you don't know the meaning of the words, you don't know the power of them, right? So that's what abracadabra means, okay? So you're actually... Well, however you want to interpret it and whatnot. So this is what I found when I was doing my own research. Like I said, I'm willing to be challenged to go look up stuff on your own, but you're creating it in your heart with your emotion and intent. You're projecting that out into the world, right into the fifth element, right, through your persona or your reality, right? So it's a different way of kind of looking at your world and how you're projecting this paragraph, what's in here and projecting it out there, right? So, any questions on that? I'm still learning this too, right?
I've always thought the last syllable of that word as being a device for the support of weight.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So,
Deborah?
right? let me cut over here for a second. I want to go over these words. But if you notice here, the power of words is that, according to research at Cambridge University, it doesn't matter in what order the letters in a word are. Only the important thing is that the first and last letter be at the right place. Do you guys see how your mind works? That's the reason why I did that, because I want you guys to understand that letters are just symbols. It's just symbols, and the power of those symbols is entirely your power to create what that symbol is. Yeah.
So in different languages, words are used in certain ways, like in Spanish, in terms of this, the subject, the verb, where those things apply. So this is very right on.
Absolutely.
How you speak in Greek, how you speak in different, that applies to all languages.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that I find is that a lot of people the rhetoric that's been programmed in our society is a service to self rhetoric. That's the problem. We have a president who's been elected who is, and either one who's been elected. It's like me first over everything, my company, my corporation. It's a service to self reality. In my opinion, we need to create a service to others reality. That's one of the biggest problems in society today, and that's changing our word structure, changing our rhetoric from that service to self to service to other mentality.
I think essentially objective and subjective. Everything's really subjective,
yes.
Whereas it was objective for the whole. And
yeah.
Address it that way.
Yes.
I like that a lot. I think that one thing I struggle with, growing up multilingual, and have a very different perspective than most people, and I think that there's something called the superior wharf hypothesis.
Say it a little bit slower, saying this.
Superior wharf hypothesis.
Okay.
It's in linguistics and sociology as well.
Yeah.
That the fundamental worldview you have is interpreted by the languages you have, because the languages, like when you see something, you see the light reflecting off of the actual object, and your mind is interpreting it. Whatever you have in your mind, like whatever languages you see, that's how you interpret the entire world. That's how your perspective is made up.
Yes.
And so I come from an Asiatic culture, which is all about like the greater, the whole, right? Like serving like other people.
Yeah.
It's just here because everything's self-serve. We have self-serve gasoline. We have fast food. You just can take it and just feed this individual organism. But you take a macro approach to it. We've been like cutting down the Amazon for these cattle to graze on. We've been finding out that like red meat is bad for you, that causes cancer.
Yep.
And like we've been paving, like basically paving, but you create lawn for these cattle to eat, to ultimately just feed this one individual selfless body. And ultimately, when we look at the symbiotic relationship that it takes to live life, that's causing cancer within people as well.
Yes.
So it's actually a cancerous approach to life, because the only thing that really expands in and of itself in the body is something that's going to kill us, cancer. Like that's not a realistic way to live.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that you said it, because I've kind of seen that growing up, and I had no idea what to do about it.
Yes.
It's kind of like framing it from a worldview perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I struggled when I was younger. I've been running this gym for about 8 years because I'm just such a loving person. I was like, why is everyone so out for themselves? We can all work together and be better, you know? Like, I was like confused, and then like that's what kind of forced me into being a coach, because I was like, I had to teach people how to love again. I'm actually gonna go over love in a second here, because like people they forgot to love. There's this service like or this thing, the lower self. We're all being pushed into a lower self, that lower level consciousness. Where we're all fighting each other. Like I got my Federal Reserve notes, you got your Federal Reserve notes, and we gotta see who can get more. And we're all in these big battles. Like who the fuck cares? Like we have to change things. That's the only way it's actually gonna change. You know what I'm saying? So let me get back to words. Excellent stuff that you said, though. I love that. So hidden meaning in words. So you've got to be able to look at like the epistemology, etymology. I get those two mixed up. So you got to look to the roots of what words mean. What's the Greek of the word? Is there a word hidden within a word? If I look at a word in a different way, because that's how there's other ways of looking at words. So I don't just believe all this stuff. I'm just kind of putting it out there for you guys to look at. So the word hello, hello. Every time you greet somebody, you're like hello. It's like, wait, are you bringing hell lower? Like, I don't believe that, but it's fucking crazy that we say hello to each other when we greet each other, right? Or the word live is evil backwards, or the word question, I like this one. Question is that it's a quest that I'm on. Every question is a quest, right? Or the word good is God, or human is hue, light, and this goes right back to here. Ra is light, right? See how that works there? I thought that was kind of cool connection. Because you're a human being, you're a light being, right? And we all forgot that, right? So or another one, I've used this in jail like this, and a lot of the coaches I've shared this with is the word diet comes from the Latin word dieta, meaning way of life. I talk about that with my clients all the time. Where is it? It's somewhere up here.
In the middle of the pyramid.
There, yes, nutrition, diet. Because a lot of people come to me like, well, I really want to change my life, but I hate diets. I'm like, you hate diets? Do you know what the word diet means? You just hate your way of life. You're like, oh, crap, I'm going to change my way of life now, you know? So just by actually understanding the roots of, like, people are saying words, and they don't know what they're saying, right? And I'm still learning all this too, because I'm like, oh, I got to figure out what I'm actually saying. Like, what am I projecting into my subconscious mind, not being conscious of what those words are doing, right? Those swords. Now, let me get into some of this other things. Is like government, right? So government actually means in Latin, gubernare mentis. What does that mean, Chris?
Controlling your mind.
Control the mind. So we have a government, and what does it mean?
Control
Control your mind, right? So like part of like, I'm not anti-government thing. I'm think for yourself. That's my whole thing. So I'm not against any of this. Just, if you know what the words mean, you're gonna be able to figure it out for yourself. I'm more of like a what we call it anarchist, right? This is an important thing to add. I've been teaching some of my clients this. They're like, oh, that's a really good way of thinking. So the and is without, and archon is master. So like, what's weird for me is like, I do my best not to get too caught up in all this. Everyone's fighting. I'm blue, you're red. Clinton, Trump, it's like fighting, and I'm like, dude, like, why do we need a master? That's what kind of keeps me separate from everyone. Like, you guys are all fighting over who the next master is. Why? You know what I mean? I mean, it makes sense because we have this argument from antiquity. We've had this system for a long time. I'm the kind of person like, I can build my own gym, my own film studio, let's build a new religion, new government. I have an attitude, let's create new ways. And I can't do that until I teach everybody else around me how to be creators too. It goes back to this. We have to create new ways. I know what that is. We're still figuring that out. But think about that. Anarchy. A lot of people think anarchy that's chaos. Aren't we kind of already living in chaos? They don't want you to not know the truth.
Choose your master.
Yeah, who's your master? So I wanted to finish going over these last couple of things with like the word love, right? A lot of people if I like go and hug a guy, like, oh, you're gay, they don't hug each other, like they don't want us loving each other, right? But people don't even understand what love means. There's different ways of looking at love, right? I can tell Jay, hey brother, I love you,
Love
right?
you too.
Because I love him. I love everybody in this room, right? But it's different types of love. It's not erotic love, right? I want you all to get in bed with me. Maybe a few, no, I'm just joking. But in reality, it's like you got to understand different levels of love, and we don't even know what those words mean because we're so caught up in hate and fighting each other over stupid ass shit. We need to figure out what love is and understand what level of love we're at and start projecting that, whether it's erotic love, when you love like your wife or your girlfriend or like whatever it is. And agape is like God or man. Storge is love for your family, like I love my father, right? Or philo is friendly love. Like I love Chris and I would go and study together all the time. Like, dude, we're going to change the world. We're going to give all this information to people, and I love that. So just understand the roots of even just what love means. My last thing I wanted to go over here, make sure I got everything, is that the word reality. Does anybody know what the word reality means?
Reality is king.
Right? So essentially, like what I love to do is give people power, right, through words, right? Power of words. So a lot of people don't understand that we have this master ruling class, right? It's archons. Remember, archon means master, and they are what's called royalty, right? And what people have realized is that reality is royalty or realty. Who owns you? Is your body your property, or is it somebody else's property? So if you don't know how to use words correctly, you're going to be somebody else's property. So you need to learn to take your power back and use words to create your own property, create your own royalty, because you are the kings and queens and create a new reality. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's do it, Chris. I'll leave this up here.
Can I just toss in something?
Oh, any last questions? I always forget to ask questions.
Ever since that teen queen took over England back in the 19th century,
Yes.
there has been, I don't know who is responsible for it, a development of a breakdown in the understanding of love.
Yes.
Victorian morals separated sex and made it this over here to be behind closed doors, pull the curtains and all that stuff. And the kind of love that a family has for within itself as something ideal and beautiful, and the love you have for God. And in reality, the sexuality of love is just merely an expression out of love. It is not love itself, it's an expression.
Yeah.
And there should never have been this slamming of the doors and windows and I'm trying to think of the word that I really want. There's a word that would put it in exact perspective. It was demeaned. Sexuality was demeaned.
Yes. Yeah, no, you're absolutely
And
right.
it shouldn't have been.
I feel like the word love is
No,
being
you're
stretched too thin.
Yeah,
There's so
love
many
does not
definitions
mean
of that word.
Yes.
Just the word art, and everyone means something different in this day.
Yeah.
That's
My
why it's so
father,
hard to
when I went away from home,
about love.
Yeah, good point, good
when
point.
I left home to go to the Air
Using the
Force,
same word, the same definition.
sorry,
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
my father told me, you're going to find yourself in a situation where a woman is going to offer you her body and you're going to want it.
Yeah.
He said, look, if you can't do it without some love in your heart, don't do it.
Good. That's very good. You're absolutely right.
He says what you'll do is you'll build guilt. And guilt is deadly. Guilt
Yes.
kills.
Yeah. Very
And that
real.
was the best advice I ever received.
Yeah, no, you're very, it's very real. It's good.
Wish I could remember the details of this, but I recently read something that, like in ancient Sumerian, there were like 64 words for love. And then in Hebrew, there were like 8 words for love. And then in Latin, there were like 4 words for love. In Greek, there were like 4 words for love. And now in English, we have like 1 word for love. So our concept of love is getting much more narrow.
Yeah, very deep.
I think
Nice.
in like Persian, there's like 76, and one of them is like the way your horse's tail whips in like the wind, and like the emotion that you feel in that moment. It's like
I know that.
It's
I had horses when I was young. So I understand.
yeah. So it's like the state and the experiences you have in the state. So you're perpetually in the state. In Sanskrit, it's like 96. You know, so it's the state of being that we all experience with each other. And you're right. Like in high school, I never understood it because if I like appreciated another man, someone would be like, dude, that's gay. I'm like, but he's a guy. Like I'm gonna have like good experiences with every any orientation, any sex, it doesn't matter. And so it's interesting because it's segmented. It's that box mentality. Like everything is
We're taught to fear loving each other. But I can't. Like I hug pretty much all my clients when they come into my gym, man or woman. Like, unless they're not comfortable, I gotta give people their space. But
Yeah, vulnerable, but then wants to be vulnerable.
yeah.
But then what happens though when you're not in the state is like you're in your natural state of anxiety, right?
Yes.
Because then your natural state's love. Like we don't need to learn anything for that.
You already know.
Yeah. It's more like you need to learn how to forget.
Yeah.
I needed to hear that. That was good.
Right?
Yeah, because like, I mean, it's like a, natural state of anxiety, it's like I have really bad anxiety. I got pills in my pockets right now because I just have terrible anxiety. So it's like, and he's right, it's like, me, I really appreciate someone hugging me, or a friend, wife, whatever, It's a physical show of acceptance, you know what I mean? To me, that's my interpretation.
Yeah.
It's like, I really appreciate hearing that. That's, yeah, you're right. You're in a state of anxiety.
Yeah, well look, we're in an age where more neurosis, more like mental paralysis than ever.
Yes.
And it's because we're taught like, look, you need to fend for yourself, and this is the way to do it. And it's completely counter to how we actually are.
Yes.
We're meant to like be here in like a tribal group, like support each other. I mean, just say that's how we thrive and we survive for so long.
Yes.
Now we have a lot of resources, and there's people that want these resources. And the way they control you is they make you subconscious, and then they guide you with everything that they want.
He's gonna go to that.
Yeah.
He's gonna go to that
And to
right
sum
now.
up what we're doing is we are looking at contradictions, and in logic of the Trivium, that's one of the definitions is the art of non-contradictory information. And you can see there's tons of them. When you start looking into things for yourself, it just all unravels. But
All right, guys.